Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this vanilla run of Pokemon Red, the classic that started it all. After listening to Professor Oak's inspiring opening speech, I named myself Metamon, my favorite Digimon, and I named my rival Nomatem because I entered his name with my eyes closed. Eager to get the adventure underway, I recklessly stumble into the grasses north of Pallet, only to be saved just in the nick of time by Professor Oak. After all, I, a human boy, would be no match for the critters in the grass. As generous as always, Professor Oak offers me a Pokemon from his collection. So magnanimous! I choose Bulbasaur, but before I can depart with my new best friend, Nomatem has the gall to challenge me to a battle. I send out my Bulbasaur and... What trickery is this? Alright, so I'll drop the act. You've seen the thumbnail and read the title. This will be a mirror match challenge, which I haven't seen anyone else do yet. The battle in the background is straightforward, growl once and scratch away, so I'll just explain what exactly a mirror match challenge is. First, what do I mean by, can you complete Pokemon Red as a Ditto? Is that a grammar mistake? Don't I mean with a Ditto? It's okay, English is hard, we're all learning. No. I mean as a Ditto. We're not using a Ditto, we are the Ditto. Our run is similar to a Ditto run, but there are a few key differences. When Ditto transforms into an opponent, it copies their attack, defense, special, and speed, but it can't copy their HP, and all of its moves are limited to 5 power points each, not to mention that it takes a turn to transform in the first place. I want the true one-to-one mirror match experience, so what I will be doing is before each battle, I'll tinker with my save file behind the scenes in order to give myself a perfect copy of my opponent's next team, stats, moveset, and all. We'll be evenly matched. Asterisk. There are only 2 rules. Number 1, defeat each and every Pokemon with their clone, no exceptions. That means that if any Pokemon ever faints, I lose and have to retry. Number 2, no items. Now, although we have the exact same stats and moves as our opponents, there are some mechanical differences that will both cause us some headaches, but also work in our favor. Every trainer in Gen 1 is on dialysis. That is to say that they've got no PP. No matter how many times they use a move, they will never be forced to struggle, whereas we only have a set amount of PP to work with before we run dry. Enemies can also use items. We can use items, but we're not going to, we've got pride. Another quirk is that status or debuff moves used by enemies have an accuracy tax, giving them a chance to fail when used against us, which is nice. An important note is that as we get further and further into the game, we'll actually gain a steady advantage in the form of the badge boosts. Every odd-numbered badge will give us a passive, permanent 12% boost to our listed stats. Brock gives attack, Lieutenant Surge defense, Koga speed, and Blaine special. What's even better is that because of the Spaghetti Gen 1 code, every time our stats are increased or lowered within a battle, all of our badge boosts will be reapplied. This means that moves like Defense Curl, which would ordinarily be kinda useless, actually become mini Omni boosts to our stats. And of course, our greatest advantage is the fact that our opponents are computers from the 90s, while we are controlled by a very intelligent, very handsome millennial man. We're going to bring the trainers of Kanto to heel, but they all could have been the victors, if only they made smarter choices. There's no real point in picking up items or battling optional trainers, since my team resets with every battle, so we'll just be barreling through the main story. Except for here, where I choose to battle Nomatem for the experience. Not for my Pokemon, for me. I want the experience. I should mention that Metamon isn't actually a Digimon, it's Ditto's Japanese name, and Nomatem is just Metamon backwards. He has 2 Pokemon, a level 9 PIDGEY and a level 8 Charmander. How is his PIDGEY a higher level than his Charmander? I don't know, maybe he's also using a save editor. My plan was to lead with 1 sand attack to drop his accuracy, then gust until I win, but here we see our first example of our 3-letter nemesis, RNG. Even though we're a bird who can fly, there's a lot of sand in our eyes, just heaps of sand, and we miss with Gust so many times that we lose. Our rematch goes much more smoothly. I don't bother with a sand attack of my own and just start off with Gust spam, which eventually brings down his PIDGEY. For Charmander, I lead off with a growl, then scratch my way to victory. The next trainer is deep in Viridian Forest, this bug catcher who only has a single Weedle. In Gen 1, Poison is actually super effective against Bug, rather than resisted, so Poison Sting lands for neutral damage. There's no real point in going for String Shot to drop his speed, so I don't. We've made it to Pewter Gym. Skipping right past the Light Years trainer, we challenge our first gym leader, Brock. He's sporting a level 12 Geodude, a level 14 Onix, and no clothing on his upper body, for some reason. Geodude deals a single point of damage to us with Tackle. Since we have the exact same stats, we can assume that we also deal 1 damage, meaning it would be pointless to go for Defense Curl. On paper, we'd need 33 of our 35 available tackles to get through Geodude's HP, meaning we would only be allowed to miss 2, but some critical hits secure the KO before we run out of tackles. Onix is a true battle of wits. We have 3 moves at our disposal: Old Reliable Tackle, Screech, and Bide. We start with 3 Screeches to drop Onix's defense to its minimum, then we start some mad science. Bide is an interesting move. It's a terrible move, but an interesting one. When you use Bide, you're forced to sit there getting beat on for either 2 or 3 turns, chosen randomly. When Bide ends, you deal damage equal to twice the damage dealt to you during the duration. For a normal playthrough, where you just want to blast through everything as quickly as possible with your strongest moves, Bide is worthless. But when we're trapped in this bizarro mirror match challenge with a couple dozen turns to kill, maybe Bide can see some use. I wanted to test if you could abide. That is, wait for the enemy to use Bide, hit him once, then use my own Bide, soak up his Bide, then finally unleash a devastating blow for quadruple tackle damage. It didn't work. For whatever reason, Brock's Bides would miss me, even though Bide doesn't even check for accuracy, it's a guaranteed hit. Eventually, I just decided there was no need to be fancy, and I just spammed Tackle while Brock's Onix screeched into the void. That's 1 gym down! Next on the chopping block is a bug catcher who has a Caterpie and a Weedle, both at level 10. Not much to say about this one, just spam your attacking move to win. Now that we have the Boulder Badge, we pack 12% more punch than our opponents, giving us a nice edge, at least when using physical moves. After the bug catcher is Shorts Boy, and you know what? I agree. Shorts are comfy and easy to wear. I try to Tail Whip to soften up his Rattata, but things get a little weird. It says Rattata turned away, which, yeah, I guess you would need to turn your back to use Tail Whip, but I've never seen that text before. I go for another Tail Whip, this one lands, then 2 quick attacks. When I try the second quick attack, I get the prompt that Rattata won't obey. So, for those who are unaware, traded Pokemon get sassy with you and refuse to obey you if you don't have enough gym badges. I messed up the save editing and forgot to set myself as the Rattata's trainer, and since he's above level 10, he thinks he's too good to take orders. I was today years old when I learned that the Boulder Badge doesn't actually offer any bonuses to obedience. I fixed the save file and tried again. I go for the same Tail Whip and double quick attack strategy, and I lost. There's no point in tail whipping, so I just quick attack 3 times to finally get through the Rattata. Next is EKANS, and this is an easy one because EKANS has Wrap, one of the most broken moves in the history of Pokemon. It's 85% accurate, and if it lands, your opponent is trapped for 2 to 5 turns while they take damage. When I say trapped, I don't mean that they can't switch. In fact, that's the only thing they can do. I mean that they can't act. At all. If you're faster than the opponent, you can Wrap Lock them from full to dead, and there's nothing they can do except pray for a miss. We're at a speed tie with the enemy EKANS, meaning we have a 50% chance to act first, but the AI won't always choose Wrap. So, that's a wrap. I have a college education, by the way. Next up is a bug catcher with 4 Pokemon, the hardiest roster we've seen so far. First is a Weedle, spam Poison Sting to win. Second is... In Gen 1, all enemy movesets are based on the Pokemon's level up moves. Kakuna's only level up move is Harden. This is the first part where PP becomes relevant, and it actually works in our favor. If our opponent didn't have infinite PP, we'd start struggling at the same time, and the winner would be down to luck. However, because the enemy Kakuna will never run out of Hardens, we're free to waste all of ours, then begin dishing out furious struggles. Struggle deals half the damage dealt as recoil, but we have the same HP, meaning that we're left at exactly half health after defeating our doppelganger. After Kakuna comes Caterpie, just tackle to win, then a Metapod, of course. Same as Kakuna, get as hard as you possibly can, then go beyond. Harder and harder, until you eventually win. After the bug catcher is another bug catcher, how about that? First up is a Caterpie, tackle to win, then yet another Metapod. You know the drill. If these were Kakuna, I'd say you know the B drill, but these are Metapod, and you know the Butterfree doesn't make any sense. We begin spelunking through Mount Moon, which, believe it or not, has only 2 forced encounters. First up is our first Team Rocket battle of the run. Rattata has nothing we haven't seen before, quick attack 3 times to win, but Zubat is something else. I'd call it an RNG fiesta, but that wouldn't be fair. Fiestas are fun, this is more like an RNG office party. The problem is Leech Life, which has pathetic base power and a paltry 15 PP. Although it's neutral against Zubat in this generation, the enemy will heal off of Leech Lifing us, which means we need to supplement Leech Life with confusion damage from Supersonic. The problem is that Supersonic has 55% accuracy, and of course the enemy is also using Supersonic, so we need to hope their Supersonic misses, hope our Supersonic hits, then hope that they hit themselves in confusion enough times to take themselves out before we run out of attacks. Maybe it's not even an RNG office party, it's like an RNG playdate at your mom's friend's house. She's not my friend, Mom, let me stay home. We then come across this Gatekeeper super nerd who has the most unique team so far, a Grimer, a Voltorb, and a Koffing. I try to get cute and disable his pound, but it doesn't work, just pound him into submission. For Voltorb, I lead with Screech, and then start spamming tackles. You might notice that although I land some critical hits, they don't actually do extra damage. 2 points about crits in Gen 1. Your crit rate is actually influenced by your base speed, and Voltorb is super fast, so it gets lots of crits. Crits also ignore all stat changes, both your own and your opponent's, so because the defense drop from Screech is ignored, I end up doing about the same damage as a normal attack. Finally, we face Koffing. We have our choice of Tackle or Smog. Smog is weaker and Koffing can't be poisoned, so just spam Tackle. Breathe that fresh cerulean air. We can either take on Cerulean Gym, or head north to face our dear rival. I opt to rematch Nobutem, who leads with a beefy Pidgeotto. Quick attack spam seems to be the way to go. Out comes Abra, which at this point in the game is just a smart Metapod. Next is Rattata, which has 4 moves, would you look at that? Of particular note is Hyperfang, which is bonkers powerful for this point in the game. 80 base power, 90 accuracy, and a chance to flinch. By the way, we miss twice and lose. Upon rematching, we both hit and land the flinch, allowing us to take out Rattata at full health. Last is Charmander, who still hasn't evolved for some reason. I go for 1 Leer, then scratch, scratch, scratch until I win. Before heading through Nugget Bridge, I decide to turn around and clear the gym. We only have to face 1 trainer before Misty, this junior trainer with a lone Goldeen. It's not worth going for anything other than Peck. Misty herself has 2 Pokemon, a level 18 Staryu with Tackle and Water Gun, and a level 21 Starmie with Tackle, Water Gun, and Bubble Beam. Not much strategy we can use with Staryu. I start off with some tackles, thinking it might outdamage Water Gun since it's neutral damage and we get a 12% attack boost, but we have to contend with the mischance and an X defend boost, so I just switch to spamming Water Gun until it faints. Starmie is a little more clear-cut. Just move the cursor over to Bubble Beam and keep mashing A. Bubble Beam can drop the enemy's speed, but that doesn't do much. Crits operate off of base speed, not current speed, but regardless, Bubble Beam is the strongest option. And with that, we've obtained 2 of the 8 Kanto Gym badges with only a handful of resets along the way. As you can imagine, it gets real tedious real fast swapping out my team after each and every battle, so I think this is a good place to end part 1. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more quality content in the future, if you'd be interested. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.